Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host, Jim Wiggin with Athearn. So glad to have you on board. I hope you're enjoying your summer and I hope you're ready for some new stuff that has, well, technically it's hit the shelves of your dealer for a couple of weeks now, but it's worth talking about. We're going to be talking about the Athearn HO scale fire trucks as well as some Athearn Roundhouse 2-bay hoppers. So stay tuned for that. Now, if you like the content that we deliver on a weekly basis, please do us a favor, like and subscribe. While you're at it, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into the YouTube channel, and comment. Now, I can't promise you I'm going to answer every single one of those comments, but we try to answer as many as possible, and we do enjoy the interaction. So with that being said, let's get started with another Train Tuesday. We're going to be talking about some fire trucks to start with from the Athearn line. Now, we've offered these Ford F850 pumper trucks in the past, but we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to do something other than your standard city or town. We wanted to do something a little bit more creative. And so we've done a pretty good mix of both railroads as well as some fun ones. We're going to start with the railroad ones as beginning here with Union Pacific. Now, you're probably wondering, wait a minute, do railroads even have fire equipment? Well, yes, they do. Do they look exactly like this? Maybe not. In the real world, class 1s and even smaller short lines do sometimes have fire apparatus of some type. In fact, some of them are even modified high railers to help service fires that can't be easily accessible by roads. So yes, a lot of railroads do have fire stations, fire equipment, just to keep their property safe. So what we've got here is Union Pacific. This is how it would appear brand new from the Ford factory, 1968. Now, keep in mind, this is a truck from 1968, but these trucks were heavy duty, highly reliable, and served towns and their customers for many years throughout the 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and in some cases, even current day. They definitely get their money's worth when they bought one of these trucks. We're also going to offer Santa Fe. This is a really cool paint scheme. Even if you didn't want to use it for the railroad, maybe you want to purchase it and you like the paint scheme, you could do a little bit of work and make it for your town. It's a very believable paint scheme, one that certainly shows up really well and would work for any era from 1968 throughout the 1970s into the 80s. Here's our take on the Southern Pacific. Now, we kind of copied the Southern Pacific police caboose that we offered a few years ago. This came up to be a rather believable fire truck and one that really catches your attention. So Southern Pacific fans, you've got an option there to add to your collection. My personal favorite, the Great Northern. You get that big sky blue. It really looks good. The barricade on the front bumper, right, the pumper apparatus. It's a really cool looking truck, and it's another one of those too that if you didn't want to use it for Great Northern, but maybe it just happens to match the town in which you're modeling, you could definitely modify it for that. Yes, we did a Penn Central version. Now, I couldn't find any proof that Penn Central had fire equipment that looked like this, but it's still a fun model. It's still a cool detail that you could add to your layout or your module. We wanted to offer it for you as well. 1968, of course, right into the Conrail era. Why not? Now, this one, you may be scratching your head. Penguin Ginger Ale. What does Penguin Ginger Ale and a fire truck have anything to do in common? Well, think about it. Soft drink companies for years have used different things for marketing and promotions. And if your tagline is the thirst quencher, what doesn't work better as a thirst quencher than a fire truck? So what we wanted to do is we offered this as more of a marketing promotional type truck. And think about it. If maybe you've got a supermarket on either your module or your layout, and you want to have a cool display rather than just a bunch of cars parked in the parking lot, you could set up a small tent. You could have this truck, maybe some other promotional vehicles as well. And if you're my age or older, you probably remember the old soft drink challenge. They would have the taste challenge between the major brands. Well, you could Maybe simulate this in HO scale with the Penguin Ginger Ale. Either way, it's a great promotional vehicle. Maybe you collect the Penguin brand stuff, or maybe you just want to put it on your module as some type of billboard or a marketing promotion. Either way, it's a fun collectible. Firehouse Diner, you're probably wondering, where did this come from? Well, this is another promotional vehicle. Now, a couple of years ago, my wife and I went to South Dakota, and on our way to Rapid City on Highway 90, we kept seeing every 4 to 5 miles, we'd see a fire truck on the side of the road promoting a special restaurant in Rapid City. Now, this is no different. A lot of these fire trucks, when they reach retirement, they're traded in for newer equipment. They went for sale at auction, or they just went for sale somewhere. And some people, enterprising business people, would purchase these um, fire trucks and emergency equipment and use them as billboards on the side of the highway, just like I saw in South Dakota. Now, there really was a restaurant that was a firehouse themed restaurant in Rapid City. In fact, as far as I know, it's still there. And this was a great way to advertise it. All along Route 90, I kept seeing these fire trucks, and guess what? It worked. We went to their restaurant, had a great dinner, had a great time, and it was really neat if you're into fire type equipment. So here's another idea. You could actually have the restaurant on your layout or module, or you could just have a highway scene with these parked on the side of the road being used as a marketing promotional type billboard. And then finally, we've got a Ford Motor Company. Now, of course, this is a Ford truck. And yes, Ford Motor Company did have fire equipment, because at one time, the Ford Motor Company up in Michigan was almost its own city. Well, it's only natural that it would have its own fire equipment. But I look at this model and think this is probably something you'd see in Dearborn at the Henry Ford Museum. Maybe they would take one of these trucks off the assembly line, give it a special paint job, and put it on display in their museum. If you're like me and you're into collecting small automobiles and you're a Ford collector, you're probably going to add this as well. I can already tell you, I've got one in my fleet already. This is one we've never done before. It's a great homage to the company that allowed us to license this model. And like I said, it's totally different, something new and interesting. Now, even though these little 1/87 scale trucks are very small, they actually have some nice detail. Now, of course, if you look up front, they have the unique front bumper mounted apparatus. That really looks nice. The pictures don't really do it justice. Really nicely scaled detail. Of course, you do have an interior, so if you want to further detail it with a crew, you can certainly do that. And of course, these are licensed models from the Ford Motor Company. So the proportions are right, all the lines are right. They've been signed off by Ford Motor Company because they are licensed. And of course, they do have rubber wheels, or sorry, rubber tires, and the wheels are free rolling. So I won't cast any shade on you if you make truck noises and run it back and forth on your layout. Either way, these are available at your hobby shop now. If you've got an Athearn dealer in your area, more than likely they have these in stock. If you don't, you can purchase these online from one of the many model railroad retailers online. Next, we're going to switch gears and go to Roundhouse. Roundhouse has got available right now these really cool 2-bay hoppers, these coal cars. Now, what we wanted to do for this run is we wanted to offer 2 different 4-packs. Now, hear me out on these Athearn Roundhouse models. No, they're not going to be as detailed as Genesis, and certainly not as detailed as Athearn either. However, if you're into a modular type club, maybe you're into Fremo or some other modular standard, where you're setting up displays largely for the public or at just train shows, one of the best ways to build a big train is with Roundhouse models. Now, let's be honest. If we're all operators and we're all of the model railroad mindset and we're in an operating setting at a home layout, sure, Genesis and Athearn rolling stock and locomotives look great. But to the general public, what do you think they're more interested in? A highly detailed, authentic train made of 12 freight cars, or a large freight train like a coal train? Well, Hate to disappoint you, but the crowds really like to see big trains, and this is a great way to do it. Now, these are available in 2 4-packs per road name. And as you can see there, I've put the different road numbers up on your screen so you can see. If you still don't believe me, select the links in the video description below, and that will take you right to the announcement. Now, the first ones that we have up here are Baltimore, Ohio, roughly 1940, 47 to 1970. They're going to have molded on details, but they've got great metal wheel sets to make them track really well. And of course, they've got the knuckle couplers, they're body mounted. So they're pretty much ready to go out of the package. Now we're also going to be offering the Canadian Pacific. These are roughly 1966 to 1970. Again, 2 different boxes. The thing I like about the boxes are relatively small. They come with a clamshell. Put all 4 of them in there. You don't have to worry about damaging them. And they're pretty small. So you could build up a pretty good sized coal train with a couple of these boxes and transport them that way. Or if you like, they'll still transport in other manufacturers' storage solutions. Up next, 1962 to 1975 Great Northern. These are really nice. Again, we're going to offer them in 2 different boxes of 4. And again, pretty much really ready to go. There's not much you need to do to these. Santa Fe is next, 1952 to 1970. 2 different road number sets that you can choose from, or you can just put them all together and have unique road numbers. Northern Pacific, 1940 to 1970. Again, these dates that I'm giving you, these are rough estimates. These are Athearn Roundhouse, so they're not going to be as prototype specific as a Genesis, but they give you a range of dates. Southern. Now, I will say about the Southern, we've had a lot of requests lately for Southern equipment, and really happy to offer these. And probably safe to say the Southern ones are probably going to sell out first. So if you're a fan of the Southern, you might want to contact your dealer sooner than later. Based on the amount of requests that we get through our product suggestion email, which, by the way, is Athearn-product-suggestions@athearn.com, we're going to be doing a lot more Southern in the coming years. So I hope you Southern guys are happy with this offering. Again, you're going to have 2 different sets with non-duplicating road numbers to choose from. Now let's talk about the features of these. No, they don't have as much detail as Athearn or Genesis, but again, these are perfect for those opportunities where you get to run maybe in a club open house setting, or if you're a modular group and you're doing public displays, these are an easy way to get that big train. So these are going to have a removable coal load. They're still weighted very nicely. You can bring them up to NMRA standards very easily if you need to. Also, they're going to have body-mounted knuckle couplers. Now, we realize some guys like to switch out their couplers. That's entirely up to you, but out of the box, they're ready to go. They're adaptable, or they're compatible with all other major brands of scale knuckle couplers. Now, the minimum radius on these, even if you've got a small 4x8 layout, and there's nothing wrong with a 4x8 layout, you can add these to your fleet. Minimum radius on these is 18 inches. They're great little cars. I've got them behind me. I've got some B&O ready to head out. We're not really going to do any operations on them, but we'll do a run-by for you. So there you have it. These are available right now at your Athearn dealer. So contact your Athearn dealer. If you pre-ordered, you're probably enjoying them like myself already. If you didn't pre-order and you didn't remember about these, contact your Athearn dealer and they should be able to get you all set up. So that's all I've got for you today. We're not, like I said, going to do any operations on these. I just happen to have a chassis GP40-2 from not this current release, but the last release from a couple of years ago, as well as a chassis caboose. Just kind of slowly going through Danville, making a connection. We'll stand trackside and watch that. But until next time, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care, everyone.